Hey guys, it's your Creative Queen. Welcome to Create with Creative Queen, home of Tutorial Tuesday. Before we dive into today's fun, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you'll never miss a new tutorial. From cakes and cookies to foam projects and treats, we've got everything to spark your creativity. Let's get creative and make something amazing together. Let's get into this foldable jumbo card with a rear opening flap. We're going to make it easy to pre-make these so that you can sell them or give them away to family without having to fill them one at a time. So let's get started. So let's start with our supply list. We're going to need a foam board. I prefer Hobby Lobby foam board. You guys are going to hear me say it over and over again. You're going to need your prints. So for a foldable card, you use 4 prints: front page, back page, inside pages. So set those aside. You're also going to need a ruler. I prefer a ruler with a cork backing so it doesn't slide on my surface. I'm going to use a squeegee. I'm also going to have a pair of scissors nearby. I don't believe I'm going to need them, but I'm going to keep them. My hot glue gun and some extra glue sticks. And then we're going to use these treat boxes from Walmart. So they are Let's Celebrate. There's 8 in a pack. You're also going to need a good box cutter or X-Acto knife. And then, of course, I use my cut-resistant glove. So let's get started. So we need to differentiate our front pages, back pages, inside pages. We're going to take our front page, and I'm going to take it and position it to the far right-hand corner of the foam. That way I only need to cut on 2 sides. So I'm going to do that first, and then I'm going to align it and peel back a corner while keeping my other hand on it to keep it in place. Then I'm just going to go ahead and lift it up and squeegee until the design is on. Sometimes it's easier than other times. Today it wanted to stick. Luckily, I was able to reposition it. Crisis averted. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to take our back page and we're going to position it right next to our front page. But we want to leave a little bit of a gap, guys. I'm talking less than 1/4 inch, just so you can see an actual white line. And that's because when we cut and, when we score, we want to not tear our pages or not score in the middle of our pages. So we're going to leave a little bit of a gap so that we can score it and not be cutting our design. So I'm going to put that corner down, and then I'm going to gently place the rest of the image on my foam board. Squeegee, and then we're good to go. Now it's time to clear off some of the excess foam. We don't need it in our way, so we're going to go ahead and put our glove on. And I always cut with a safety glove, guys. That is something I'm going to always do. And if you catch me not doing it, say it in the comments. Let me know. Call me out. So I'm going to cut along the image. And it's easier to do it this way because when you go to put your inside pages on, you have a guide. If you just put 2 images on one side, then 2 images on the other, there's nothing to tell you that you've actually lined up. So we want to make sure that we're lined up completely and cutting out the images perfectly so that when we flip it over, we can easily put our inside pages in. So save that foam, don't toss it. We always wind up using it for something else. I've got a little bit of white space on the edge here, so I'm going to cut it off. I don't want to see any excess white on this image. And if you're noticing that it takes more than one pass on your blade, guys, it is time to change that blade out. So always make sure that you get clean cuts. So now I'm going to position my ruler in the middle of that white gap that I left. And I'm going to score. I'm going to gently pull my blade back through the design and that is scoring, so I'm not cutting all the way through to the front. And now we've got a nice clean cut. Okay, I'm just going to run it through one more time. And now my cut is nice and clean, and there is my fold. Now we're going to turn it inside out and position it so we can put our inside pages in. So this is my inside left, and here's my inside right. So I'm going to put my right side on first. I'm going to fold up the foam so that it can help me position where that page is going to be. Now remember, we are going to have a fold in here, so we want to make sure we don't put the page all the way up against that crease. You want it to line up perfectly, and remember that you gave yourself a little bit of a gap. So that's why I'm repositioning. Now I'm going to hold that page down, pull up a corner, smooth it down so I don't get any air bubbles. For the left side, line it up. Don't put the page in the crack. Hold it down and then try your best to pull up a left or right corner. I don't understand why it gives me such a hard time. It's generally when I'm recording. Finally got that corner up. Put the corner down and then go ahead and repeat the same process, guys. Gently position your page and be careful not to make it stick too fast by pulling your plastic off too fast. That's what this squeegee comes in handy. So keep it nearby. If you're not going to use it for your whole document, at least have it nearby in case you need it. All right, so we've got our outside and inside images in. There is our foldable card. So if you were not going to cut out anything, you're done. You've got your completed card. But we are going to take it up a notch, and we're going to cut out this square so that we can put a blister pack inside and fill it with nice goodies. So for this template, I have where you can just cut along the white lines. So you want to cut dead center on the white lines. So I'm going to take my ruler, and remember, this is a front page, and we're going to cut that square out completely. When you're rounding your corners, just be careful. If you need this design to be a straight square, you can also use a straight square, but I like that curve because the blister packs have curves. So go ahead and cut this square out, and then I will catch up with you after that. Guys, keep in mind you want to cut clear through, and you want to try to stay within the lines that you've already made. Continually going over and not hitting the same spot is going to cause excess lines to come through on the other side of your design. So you want to just make sure that you're meticulous in getting the same line and reiterating that cut, if that makes sense. So we're just going around these curves, and when you go to pop out this piece, it should pop out naturally. If you have to force it, you're going to get a jagged edge. So go back over your line before you try to fully push it out. Just give it a tap. If it's going to pop out, it will come right out. Okay? And there we go. So now we're going to add our blister pack. But before we do that, we have to cut out our rear flap. Okay? So we're going to flip it over again. And I'm just seeing some stuff I need to clean up. Flip it over, and we're going to cut this on 3 sides. So my left side and my top and my bottom. We're going to stay away from the right hand side. And on this portion, guys, I want to stress the importance of those clean lines. You don't want to duplicate or put your knife back in or your blade back in and go back over and not hit the same line, because it will show through. And remember, this portion is staying on the card. So it's more important here than it is on the part that you popped out. So make sure those are clear, precise lines on the top, left, and bottom. And then you should be able to see them through on the inside. If the line doesn't meet the edge of the top of or bottom of the other line, then here's where you want to stretch it and make sure that those lines meet. But you want to stay on the same line. So all I'm doing right now is I'm just making sure those lines meet. I'm going to flip it back over and go one more time over each line, just making sure that the corners meet so that when I go to pop this out, it pops out easily. And now we're going to flip it back to the front. You should see your lines. And now we have the top and the bottom line. We're going to take our ruler, line it up, and I'm going to turn it so it's easier to see. Line it up, and here we are going to score. We want that flap to pop out and swing. We don't want it to pop out and get set on the table. So we're going to score. Just gently breaking through the front of the foam, but not coming out the back end. All right, so we've scored it. You can see your score line. And now this should pop right out. There you go. You've made your rear flap. And now we're going to put a tab on it so that we can pull the flap. Here's where you can get creative. You can get a pull tab, you can get a knob, you can get ribbon. For this, I'm going to use cardstock, something that I already have plenty of, and I'm going to cut it to 1 inch by 2.5 inches. So I'm just marking it on my cardstock where I want to make my 1 inch cut, and then I'm going to turn it, and this is going to be the 2.5 inches. Once that's cut, I'm going to take it and line it up with the square that I put on the template. And then I'm going to fold it over and hold it in place. So that's what I want it to look like once it's done. Now I'm going to remove the hold that I had on the front, and I'm going to add my glue to that tab while holding it with my thumb on the back end. So I'm just adding glue. I'm adding enough to where it'll secure it, but I don't want it to squeeze out once I apply pressure. Then I'm just going to push that over, and I want it to glue to the top end and to the inside. So I'm going to hold it, and then you can sit there and hold it for a couple minutes, allow it time to dry. I'm going to grab one of my clamps, and I'm going to clamp it because I want to move on to another portion of the video. All right, guys, so grab your treat box. We're going to go ahead and open it, and we're going to take one of those out, and we are going to cut off the little flaps that make it snap together as a treat box. I personally don't like them. I don't need them in the design, so I do cut them off. So I'm going to round my edges and cut those 4 pieces off. So just grab a good pair of scissors and then round it off so that you don't have any pointy, jagged edges. And just do this for all 4 sides. All right, now that we've done that, we are ready to glue our blister piece onto our card. I'm just going to clean up my area a little bit and then we can move on. Go ahead and remove the clamp if you use the clamp. Otherwise, just give it about 3 to 4 minutes to dry and then give it a test before you glue on your blister card, just in case there's any adjustments that need to be made. You don't need to do it once the blister pack is on. So I'm happy with that. I want it to have resistance because if somebody puts something inside of it and lifts the card up, I don't want everything to fall out. So now I'm just going to line up my blister pack or my plastic, my treat box with my design. And I'm going to make sure that my front flap closes over. Now I'm going to take my hot glue gun. This is a high temp glue gun, so I can make it all the way around the plastic without it drying up. So you're just going to add it to that little lip that's on the blister pack. You did not cut that away. And then we're going to press it down. Guys, I definitely recommend applying pressure and holding it to make sure that it's going to stay. You don't want to send this out to someone and it doesn't stay down. So apply pressure and make sure that you use enough glue. And once that's dry, you've got yourself a completed foldable card with a rear flap. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day.